Hey everybody, we're on day 25 of our Bible in a Year plan. We are still in Exodus, slowly but surely working our way through. And Exodus 22 today, to be more specific, is where we're starting. Before we get into there, just some housekeeping stuff. If you would, like, subscribe, comment if you have any questions or answers to the questions that we'll ask at the end of the video. Anything else that sticks out to you or you want to bring attention to, or anything like that, feel free to comment below, and I try to get back as much as I can to those, even if they are not recent videos. But if it's something pressing that you want to get across and it's not a recent video, it may be best to do a message on social media. X is where I am the most prominent. I guess spend the most time would be the correct phrase. Used to be Twitter, now X. So you can send a message there, or Facebook, Instagram, either one. But yeah, we'll jump straight into it. We're in Exodus 22. When a man steals an ox or a sheep and butchers it or sells it, he must repay 5 cattle for the ox or 4 sheep for the sheep. If a thief is caught in the act of breaking in and he is bitten to death, I'm sorry. I'm still, I'm getting over this sickness, but I'm kind of tired. So imagine someone breaking into someone's house and getting bitten to death. Okay. If a thief is caught in the act of breaking in and he is beaten to death, no one is guilty of bloodshed. But if this happens after sunrise, the householder is guilty of bloodshed. A thief must make full restoration. If he is unable, he is to be sold because of his theft. If what is stolen, whether ox, donkey, or sheep, is actually found alive in his possession, he must repay double. When a man lets a field or vineyards be grazed in, and then allows his animals to go and graze in someone else's field, he must repay with the best of his own field or vineyard. When a fire gets out of control, spreads the thorn bushes, and consumes stacks of cut grain, standing grain, or a field, the one who started the fire must make full restitution for what is burned, or what was burned. How about that with, think about everything. So currently at the time of recording, we're just coming on the tail end of some of the fires in California, in the Los Angeles area, and it does look like a lot of what happened was just stuff not being taken care of. Imagine how that would go if you were responsible for it starting, if you were going to be responsible for all compensation afterwards. Imagine how much more care would be taken to make sure the fire didn't start, or that it could be put out quickly. So it's not a bad deal. Okay, verse 7. When a man gives his neighbor valuables or goods to keep, but they are stolen from that person's house, the thief, if caught, must repay double. If the thief is not caught, the owner of the house must present himself to the judges to determine whether or not he has taken his neighbor's property. In any case of wrongdoing involving an ox, a donkey, a sheep, a garment, or anything else lost, and someone claims that's mine, the case between the two parties is to come before the judges. The one the judges condemn must repay double to his neighbor. When a man gives his neighbor a donkey, an ox, a sheep, or any other animal to care for, but it dies, is injured, or stolen, while no one is watching, there must be an oath before the Lord between the two of them to determine whether or not he has taken his neighbor's property. Its owner must accept the oath, and the other man does not have to make restitution. But if in fact the animal was stolen from his custody, he must make restitution to its owner. If it was actually torn apart by wild animals, he is to bring it as evidence. He does not have to make restitution for the torn carcass. When a man borrows an animal from his neighbor, and it is injured or dies while its owner is not there with it, the man must make full restitution. If its owner is there with it, the man does not have to make restitution. If it was rented, the loss is covered in its rental price. So remember with a lot of these, like what we're seeing here with livestock and stuff, this was their livelihood. So this could like ruin somebody if they lost an ox or a sheep or a donkey or things like that. Like this had a major impact on their ability to provide for their families. Verse 16. If a man seduces a virgin who is not engaged and he sleeps with her, he must certainly pay the bridal price for her to be his wife. If her father absolutely refuses to give her to him, he must pay an amount of silver equal to the bridal price for virgins. So, this is one I've seen come under scrutiny before. But this is here to protect the women. Because in that society, once a woman had lost her virginity, like her value was considered much less, because that's what they desired. That was seen as very, very valuable. And so in order to keep women from being taken advantage of by men, they made it so that if you slept with her and you didn't, like, the fathers thought that, like, no, like, you're not taking my daughter, you can't provide for her, you're not going to be good for her, he would still have to pay as if he was taking her as a wife, but he would not get her as a wife. So this was there to help protect women in the Old Testament, in the second book of the Bible, the Old Testament. Verse 18, do not allow a sorceress to live. Whoever has sexual intercourse with an animal must be put to death. Whoever sacrifices to any gods except the Lord alone is to be set apart for destruction. You must not exploit a resident alien or oppress him, since you were resident aliens in the land of Egypt. You must not mistreat any widow or fatherless child. If you do mistreat them, they will no doubt cry to me, and I will certainly hear their cry. My anger will burn, and I will kill you with the sword. Then your wives will be widows, and your children fatherless. If you lend silver to my people, to the poor person among you, you must not be like a creditor to him. You must not charge him interest. If you ever take your neighbor's cloak as a collateral, return it to him before sunset. For it is his only covering, it is the clothing for his body. What will he sleep in? If he cries out to me, I will listen, because I am gracious. You must not blaspheme God or curse a leader among your people. You must not hold back offerings from your harvest or your vats. Give me the firstborn of your sons. Do the same with your cattle and your flock. Let them stay with their mothers for 7 days, but on the 8th day you are to give them to me. Be my holy people. You must not eat the meat of a mauled animal found in the field. Throw it to the dogs. Chapter 23. You must not spread a false report. Do not join the wicked to be a malicious witness. You must not follow a crowd in wrongdoing. Do not testify in a lawsuit and go along with the crowd to pervert justice. Do not show favoritism to a poor person in his lawsuit. If you come across your enemy's stray ox or donkey, you must return it to him. If you see the donkey of someone who hates you lying helpless under its load, and you want to refrain from helping it, you must help with it. You must not deny justice to a poor person among you in his lawsuit. Stay far away from a false accusation. Do not kill the innocent, and just because I will not justify the guilty. You must not take a bribe, for a bribe blinds the clear-sighted and corrupts the words. A bribe. You must not take a bribe, for a bribe blinds the clear-sighted and corrupts the words of a righteous. You must not oppress a resident alien. You yourselves know how it feels to be a resident alien, because you were resident aliens in the land of Egypt. Sow your land for 6 years and gather its produce. But during the 7th year, you are to let it rest and leave it uncultivated, so the poor among your people may eat from it, and the wild animals may consume what they leave. Do the same with your vineyard and your olive grove. Do your work for 6 days, but rest on the 7th day, so that your ox and your donkey may rest, and the son of your female slaves as well as the resident alien may be refreshed. Pay strict attention to everything I have said to you. You must not invoke the names of other gods. They must not be heard on your lips. Celebrate a festival in my honor 3 times a year. Observe the festival of unleavened bread. As I commanded you, you are to eat unleavened bread for 7 days at the appointed time in the month of Abib, because you came out of Egypt in that month. No one is to appear before me empty-handed. Also observe the festival of harvest, with the first fruits of your produce from what you sow in the field, and observe the festival of ingathering at the end of the year, when you gather your produce from the field. 3 times a year, all your males are to appear before the Lord God. You must not offer the blood of my sacrifices with anything leavened. The fat of my festival offering must not remain until morning. Bring the best of the first fruits of your land to the house of the Lord your God. You must not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. I am going to send an angel before you to protect you on the way and bring you to the place I have prepared. Be attentive to him and listen to him. Do not defy him, because he will not forgive your acts of rebellion, for my name is in him. But if you will carefully obey him and do everything I say, then I will be an enemy to your enemies and a foe to your foes. For my angel will go before you and bring you to the land of the Amorites, Hethites, Perizzites, Canaanites, Hivites, and Jebusites, and I will wipe them out. Do not bow and worship to their gods, and do not serve them. Do not imitate their practices. Instead, demolish them and smash their sacred pillars to pieces. Serve the Lord your God, and he will bless your bread and your water, and I will remove illnesses from you. No woman will miscarry or be childless in your land, and I will give you the full number of your days. I will cause the people ahead of you to feel terror, and I will throw into confusion all the nations you come to. I will make all your enemies turn their backs to you and retreat. I will send hornets in front of you, and they will drive the Hivites, Canaanites, and Hethites away from you. I will not drive them out ahead of you in a single year, otherwise the land would become desolate, and wild animals would multiply against you. I will drive them out little by little ahead of you until you have become numerous, and take possession of the land. I will set your borders from the Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea, and from the wilderness to the Euphrates River. For I will place the inhabitants of the land under your control, and you will drive them out ahead of you. You must not make a covenant with them or their gods. They must not remain in your land, or else they will make you sin against me. If you serve their gods, it will be a snare for you. Chapter 24. Then he said to Moses, Go up to the Lord, you and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of Israel's elders, and bow and worship at a distance. Moses alone is to approach the Lord, but the others are not to approach, and the people are not to go up with him. Moses came and told the people all the commands of the Lord and all the ordinances. Then all the people responded with a single voice, We will do everything that the Lord has commanded. And Moses wrote down all the words of the Lord. He rose early the next morning and set up an altar and 12 pillars for the 12 tribes of Israel at the base of the mountain. Then he sent out young Israelite men, and they offered burnt offerings and sacrificed bulls as fellowship offerings to the Lord. Moses took half the blood and set it in basins. Other half the blood he splattered on the altar. He then took the covenant scroll and read it aloud to the people. They responded, We will do and obey all the Lord has commanded. Moses took the blood, splattered it on the people, and said, This is the blood of the covenant that the Lord has made with you concerning all these words. Then Moses went up with Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, and 70 of Israel's elders, and they saw the God of Israel beneath his feet with something like a pavement made of lapis lazuli, as clear as the sky itself. God did not harm the Israelite nobles. They saw him, and they ate and drank. The Lord said to Moses, Come up to me on the mountain and stay here, so that I may give you the stone tablets with the law and commandments I have written for their instructions. So Moses arose and with his assistant Joshua and went up the mountain of God. He told the elders, "Wait here for us until we return to you. Aaron and Hur are here with you. Whoever has a dispute should go to them." When Moses went up the mountain, the cloud covered it. The glory of the Lord settled on Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it for 6 days. On the seventh day he called to Moses from the cloud. The appearance of the Lord's glory to the Israelites was like a consuming fire. On the mountain top, Moses entered the cloud as he went up the mountain, and he remained on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. Okay. That is all for the reading for today. So we have some questions I'm going to go over, and this is just to kind of help you think through what we read, and maybe just do more than read and walk away. Like, take something from it, right? Because that's what we should be doing every time we read Scripture. Question 1. How do the laws presented in Exodus 22 through 24 reflect God's heart for justice and compassion? And what can we learn about our responsibilities in promoting justice today? Some of this I kind of outlined as we were reading through. I think a big thing, though, is ownership, responsibility. If you were responsible for something, if you were in charge of something, and something happened to it, then you should recoup that. Which that's very stark contrast to what our current society is. It's all about victimhood and being the victim, and not taking responsibility, not having ownership over anything. And that's something that it causes a lot of problems, and I think we see that in our society, in the West anyways. But it's a lot about protecting people. There's, they mentioned about on the seventh year, when your land has a Sabbath, letting the poor cultivate, or poor take from it to eat. So that was something that God was doing to help make sure that the poor could eat, and they could survive. So that's one positive there. But you saw it really throughout the laws that were there. It was about helping people and keeping proper people accountable. What does the covenant renewal signify for the Israelites, and how can we renew our commitment to God in our own lives? I think it just shows the Israelites that God's still there. He is there. He is still choosing them. He is still wanting to work through them, and he is not breaking his promise. We see throughout, even though Israel breaks their end and they don't uphold their end, God still upholds his. I think that for us today, this can just show that, God knows that we're going to fail. That doesn't mean that we don't try, but we also know that despite our failures, he is still good, and he is still going to uphold his end. Question 3. In what ways can we apply the principles of accountability and community responsibility found in these chapters to our modern context? Sorry, I've got a tickle in my throat I can't get rid of. So I've touched on this one a little bit as well. Just taking ownership and responsibility for stuff. Not always trying to find a way to be the victim, but legitimately trying to go out of your way to help. Like we saw, there was one, even if you see the donkey of someone that you hate is trapped, you still help it. Like, you do the right thing, even if it's for people that have harmed you or that you don't like. Do the right thing. And it's if everyone did that, if everyone did that and everyone took accountability for their actions, the world would be so much better off. Like, so much better off. Probably would not need police. Probably would not even need laws. But yeah, sadly, that is not how it is. Okay, I think that is it for today. Appreciate everybody watching and listening. Like I said before, don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. Let me know your answers to these questions. If you think I got anything wrong, or what you think I should have added, or if you thought I answered them fine, whatever. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you will see too in the description, there's a link to the Christian Standard Apologetic Study Bible, which is a Bible that I usually use my personal reading. But we're reading from the CSB, the Christian Standard Bible, in this plan. So you can see that there. You can also see a review of that Bible. There's a link to that in the description as well, and maybe outline some points that I really like about it and that I think are good. Why I think as highly of it as I do. So appreciate everyone watching, listening to this point. God bless.